the reason why this swearing has been done was occasioned by a ruling by Court of Appeal, by the High Court on 2nd December, which was occasioned by some members of the public who went to court on the ground that the clerk of the County Assembly of Turkana failed to shortlist them and eventually not end up in the ballot. So they went to, at first they went to court, they obtained an order, which order was not within the law. It was not within the law because they were actively state officers. And the Elections Act of 2011, revised in 2017, requires all public servants to resign from their respective positions or offices 6 months to the election date, which these two officers had not adhered to. Therefore, the clerk, being a custodian of law, could not allow them to contest. And also there was a High Court of Appeal ruling. If you remember the Bomet County Assembly case, County Assembly Speaker case, 2017, where the Speaker of the County Assembly of Bomet was removed from office upon the petition by some public on the ground that he did not resign from office as required by the law. So that Court of Appeal ruling on the retirement or the resigning of public officers is still active. And what the High Court did was to circumvent a decision of a Superior Court, a Court of Appeal, which requires mandatory 6 months requirement resignation of all officers who want to contest. So the pronunciation of High Court was not right, in my opinion, although I respect the court decision. It was not right. So these two officers went to court, requesting the court to compel the clerk to shortlist them and contest, regardless of whether they had resigned as required by law or not. So that in itself is an affront to justice. What the County Assembly did was to appeal that decision, the Court of Appeal. And in the Court of Appeal hasn't yet sat because they were on recess. But what has happened, upon putting an appeal in the Court of Appeal, the same petitioners who took the Assembly to court did not failed to file response to the court as required by the law within the 14 days. So as we speak, the only appeal, the only information that is there is from the side of the clerk of the County Assembly who appealed. But the respondents to the appeal have not, did not file any response, which technically gives the County Assembly a leeway to get favorable orders or ruling from the Court of Appeal. Secondly, the same applicants who purported to have been locked also went and filed consent to the court that they are no longer, they don't oppose the appeal, which now means that the initial thing was mischief. Why would you go to court? The court gives you favorable orders, and when this other party proceeds to court for further determination, you pull out. You see, that's the next thing I think which the public needs to know. And then finally, when I saw that all this is in circus, And this long court process hurting the public service delivery. I requested the clerk that he convenes a sitting to have an election. Because I have the numbers. I have the supermajority in this house. I have the numbers. And being a senior politician, there are two options in election. You either win or lose. Whichever verdict is preferred on you, you pick it and proceed with life as usual. So, when this matter now for election came in, the same people, same applicants who felt offended initially have written to the clerk again to withdraw their candidature from the ballot, which gives the same verdict the clerk had issued initially. So the process ends there. So this process has terminated the process of appeal, regardless of whichever outcome, but it's over. And then this process is not new. The process of repeat swearing is not new. It happened once when I was elected a member of Parliament in the Turkana Assembly in 2007. The Ford Kenya section of NAC coalition then went to court on the ground that the Raila-led faction of NAC did not participate fully in an election because the Kibaki side had elected the people on their behalf. They went to court, and our election for East African Assembly was annulled by the High Court. Then we were brought again for repeat election in Kenya National Assembly. So it's not a new scenario to me. Yes.
Maybe my question would be the repeat of an election.
Yes.
After the life of say Parliament, for example, here has begun.
Yes.
And then in between, it's decided that another swearing in actually to clarify in a complaint of some sort.
Yes.
Does it mean now you're swearing in, life of Parliament again begins there?
Not really.
Okay.
Parliament was fully functional right from inception on 20th September. What the court did not question the process of my election as a speaker. It did not. The court did not. Neither did the appellants question the process. The whole process was perfect. The only thing the judge requested was inclusion of the two. Nothing else. He didn't touch on the issues of the process and the validity or the existence of other things that were done by the Assembly. Because the committees were in place, the vice speaker, the deputy speaker of the County Assembly was also in place. So it was only inclusion of those two. So anything else was okay. Yes. So the life of Parliament of this Assembly started immediately when members were sworn in. You realize that today only one member was sworn in. Yes.
So, when I speak of issue of supplementary budget,
yes,
there's an eager. The public really want to know how this bill is going to be passed because the service delivery of the people. They're expecting that this house to be able to address this thing as fast as. What is your take on that?
Well, one of the reasons why we convened the Assembly under this special sitting was on matters of public interest. It is in common or in the public domain that when this arm of government is stifled, it also stifles service delivery. And there was no way the executive could appropriate anything or could access funds if the Assembly had not passed the budget. So our reason of having this supplementary budget the special sitting was to have this supplementary in place so that executive is able to dispense services and pay for those services, and the public can also be at ease. You realize there's a lot of water, a lot of demos on issues of water in Karamkemer. not only Kalamtemer, so many, the whole county is water strained. And the county assembly has the responsibility of exercising oversight and also budget making process through such a process. So in this issue of the budget, I have requested the respective sectoral committees to shorten the consideration period for this budget so that it is brought before the House in the shortest time possible to allow the executive offer services to the public in the shortest time possible too. So it's purely on matters of public interest. We are also concerned with the manner in which the public is suffering. Yet there's a lot of money yet to be spent by the county. So this sitting was mainly to have the supplementary budget considered, then brought back to the House as soon as possible. It's possibly 5-6 days. We should be able to convene another special sitting to allow the executive access funds and offer services to the public. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, last one. Now that you are the third county government of Turkana Speaker, County Assembly of Turkana, what do you promise in your tenure? My mandate is purely to steer the 4 responsibilities of legislature: budget making process, to steer the budget making process, representation, legislation, and anything else that offers service delivery. So my main mandate as the third Speaker of the County Assembly of Turkana is mainly to promote proper ideals on legislative front, to enhance effective oversight of the executive. Thirdly, to make sure that service delivery within the county assembly staff and members is at least optimal, considering or even with the little resources available to us. So there should be equity in service delivery, fairness, and proper accountability on both quarters, county assembly side and also on the executive side. So effective oversight, my role mainly is to have this county assembly exercise effective oversight on service delivery and any other activity by the executive.
Okay, in your tenure,
Yes.
we have to have 2 speakers now.
Yes.
We have the county assembly
Yes.
at that construction.
Yes.
For the last 10 years,
Yes.
the public has been asking,
Yes.
when is parliament? Because they expected to be there for, within a span of 5 years.
Yes.
Within a span of 10 years,
Yes.
still incomplete.
Yeah.
You are here.
Okay, I'm well seized with that matter, and it's not the first time that matter has come to my attention. I am determined to have that assembly occupied and getting operational this year. Occupied and making it operational this year. Would that be okay?